So I forgot to turn the camera on to show that I was hooking up these lift chains. What I did though is I found 4 appropriate size bolts that will thread right into the bolt holes on the head, and so that it's balanced evenly. The ones that line up are here and here. There are other holes, but they're in different locations because they're drilled for front and back of the head. The brackets for things like alternator and such get bolted into those. So what I'm doing is just setting this up, and I'll do the same on the front. And these don't have to be all that tight, you just want to make sure that they're not going to fall out. And I'll just show you what we're going to do when it comes time. This is a leveler, and it of course will run from front to back on the engine. And these clevis bolts, I think that's what they're called. Let me put that down. They bolt to the lift, but basically what I'm trying to demonstrate here is how these 2 chains will hook on to the clevis so that I can bolt the clevis onto the leveler. So they'll lift like that. That'll give me a good, should give me a good balance left to right, because I have them in the same holes on each head. Now, I may be a little bit off balance wise because of things like the power steering pump weigh a little bit more, but it should be close enough to work. And then what I'll do is I'm going to set up the same thing on the front of the engine. I'm not going to video that because it's not very complicated, and it's just the same thing I did on the back. And then when it's time to lift the engine, I should be able to just take off the air cleaner, cover something over the Sniper fuel injection throttle body so that nothing gets in it, hook it up to the hoist and lift it off of the engine stand. Unbolt it first, of course. But that's going to be it. Well, it's a good thing I decided to try and set this up today before I actually try to move the engine, because it's not long enough. Probably going to be about 4 or 5 inches short, even with the air cleaner off. So I'm going to have to find me a couple pieces of chain or some strong way to hook this up to the leveler. That's going to probably involve a trip to a hardware store or something. One of the options that some people do is they do the bolts that are in the manifold to the head. But I've already sealed that up and everything. I don't want to mess with it. It's going to be better, in my opinion, to just get myself some pieces of chain and make it so that it's long enough. So there will be a trip to a hardware store or something before I can lift the engine. One of these days, something's going to go smoothly. I know it. I just feel it. So far, I don't think it's happened. So I made my trip to Home Depot to get some chain. I got 2 1-foot long sections. I'm going to hook those into this clevis, I believe it is called. Then I will take it and put it on the balancing lift, put that pin through it, screw it in, and that'll take care of the connection to the leveler. And I will come back and get the connection to the two chains that came with the leveler. I bought plenty of chain so that I'd have enough. I'm going to try to put that at full length. I don't know if I'm going to have to come back and redo it because I might not have enough lift on the hoist. But here is what I'm going to connect that with, and this screws the whole way. So I'll just put that through the chain coming down from the leveler and the 2 chains that came with the leveler, and connect those together. I'll demonstrate on the front, then I'll do the back off camera, because it's just more of the same. Just one there. You know what? I'm going to put the one that goes to the leveler in the middle. I've got something, I don't know what it is. Just for balance, so that it's equal length. So now that I've got all 3 chains on there, I can screw the connector. Okay, and there you have it. I'll do the same on the back, and I'll be ready to see if that'll give me enough length to lift the engine. I decided that the best way to do this is going to be to, right now I have the legs of the hoist straddling the wheel. I'm going to back it up and then put it in between the wheels, and that should position the engine pretty much dead center. I see what dropped off there. It was one of those wing nuts for the valve cover hold down. So I'll put this on the back just like I did the front, and then we'll proceed to see if there's enough lift in that hoist to get it off of that engine stand, or whether I have to shorten something.